The following episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show was recorded before the SAG-AFTRA strike began. Our guest is in full support of the strike and stands in solidarity with the efforts of fellow SAG-AFTRA actors in their fight for fair wages and protections.
Hey, I'm Carly Shiraki. I'm one of the hosts of Sunny Side Up on Sprout, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Roll it!
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Since July of 2021, Jake and his friends have interviewed professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and many more. Who will they be chatting with in this week's interview? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Happy to here with us today. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh. With me to as always, our co-host Chris Bixby and Matt Bingel. How you guys doing?
We're good.
Good. Hello, everybody. How you doing?
That's great to hear. I'm doing great as always. Thank you for asking. Chris, what do we have for today?
Our guest for today, very excited. She is an actor and writer. A lot of you may know her as one of the co-hosts of the Sunny Side Up show for several years. She was also on the Chica Show, a whole bunch of other things and some acting projects outside of that, which we'll get into. And here she is, Kelly Vrooman. Kelly, happy to have you here.
Thanks, guys. Happy to be here.
Yes.
Happy to have you here.
Happy to be here, yes.
Happy to have you here, yes. So to start this off, could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, sure, of course. So yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of your audience would probably know me from the Sunny Side Up show, where I hosted along with a chicken puppet named Chica. And I actually did that for almost 7 years. It was just under 7 years, which is so crazy. And somebody recently was like, do you realize that like the age now of the people who used to watch you on that, they're like adults? And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Okay. It felt super weird, especially now that I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old of my own, and it's just it's like wild to think that like those are the kids I was talking to that now like are driving, drinking, hopefully not at the same time, not drinking and driving. So then I act and I do a lot of improv here in LA, a lot of improv comedy, and my comedic side has led to most of what my other work is in acting, as well as writing for commercials. And now I've been directing commercials and directing some animation and stuff like that, as well as continuing to write my own stuff and make some fun content for online.
Nice.
It feels weird for us being grown up now as viewers.
I know.
Too. It really feels strange for us too. So
I know.
Being grown up in general, are you just is this just like you feel weird talking to all the people you get to talk to on this podcast, or you just feel weird being adults?
Feels weird being adults.
It feels weird being adults because
I'm
22 and I was like 6, I think, when the Sunny Side Up show like first came around. So
oh god.
Yeah.
Now I was born 2004.
Yeah.
So,
right.
23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm 19. So
right.
Oh yeah, 19, you little baby.
See, Jakey, Angelica isn't the only one who called you a baby. Congratulations. Congratulations on that.
oh my.
So before becoming an actor, how did you grow up and what was your childhood like?
I grew up in Ohio. I grew up in a rural area. I saw Amish people driving their buggies quite often. Grew up. My grandpa had horses, getting to ride some horses and playing. I mean, outside play was like a huge part of my development for sure. And I could spend all day outside all the time now in my life. I love it. But mostly like, my family was really funny. Just lots of laughter, lots of joking. People, when they meet me, they're often like, oh my gosh, I bet you're the funniest one in your family. And I'm like, no, no, my brothers are way funnier than me. I mean, I at least think so. But I have 3 brothers. but yeah, my youngest brother is just turned 25, and I think he's one of the funniest people I've ever met. Yeah.
So how do you get
But
into
I'm definitely the
acting?
most attractive one in my family. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So how did you get into acting?
I just in school, I went to a small, tiny little school. And I think they were like desperate to have anybody that would be willing to get up to do like the school, plays and stuff. And so my first
Mhm.
one was in kindergarten. And then it was a small private school. So we had a thing that we paired up with other schools and did what we called speech meets, which basically is kind of like, performing poetry or whatever, like against other kids at other schools. So it's kind of like debate, but you're not debating anything. You're just performing your poem. And I started doing that, and I was painfully shy as a kid until I started doing that in early elementary school. And that just like forced me out of my comfort zone to get up there and to have to perform. I still, I mean, every time I perform, there's a like panic adrenaline thing going on. But I think now I've just gotten used to that feeling of panic and performance anxiety. But I also think maybe I've come to love it a little bit, that like adrenaline rush of what's gonna happen. I could totally fail right now. And the void, that like fear has definitely gotten quieter over the years for sure. But anyway, yeah. So then I just got into that, and just kind of one job led to the next job, led to the next job, and led to learning how to do improv. And then improv kind of became my door into like the more successful stuff that I've gotten to do, because just thinking on my feet and like whatever happens, I can just roll with it. In fact, when I auditioned for the Sunny Side Up show, I was wearing this belt that I had gotten at a thrift store because it was colorful, and I thought I should dress up in a colorful way because kids shows people are colorful, I guess.
Right, yeah.
So I'm like wearing this belt, and it fell off. It like broke in the middle of the audition. And I just went, I just like rolled with it. I just like cracked a joke about it, and then
Oh my
kept going. And I kid you not, they said that the reason I reacted the way I did, because the Sunny Step show was live, but the reason I reacted, because I reacted so like positively and on my feet, is why I got the role, because they were like,
yeah,
anything goes wrong, she's gonna be able to roll with it.
yeah,
That was awesome.
Definitely.
absolutely.
Pretty much. So I'm curious, who were some of your biggest acting inspirations?
I grew up watching a lot of like old, we didn't have cable, and so watching a bunch of like old TV stuff. Like I'm talking like Lucille Ball and Carol Burnett, and like I think any comedian, like any woman in comedy. But I guess usually in generations older than me, but I think most of us would cite those two people because they were kind of like the only women in comedy at the time. I mean, that's not true. There were definitely more, but they were just some of the most successful ones. And somebody that was a huge influence to me was Goldie Hawn. I don't know if you know who that is, but Goldie Hawn was like beautiful but super silly in her comedy. I guess same with Lucille Ball. So there's like, as a young girl, you're like, I want to be pretty, but then also they didn't always have to be pretty. Like they could look ridiculous and make total fun of themselves. And I just really latched onto that. I love making fun of myself and looking ridiculous. Like I would much rather when people like pose for a picture, like everyone say cheese. I always want to be like like more, like make a stupid face or like do something dumb rather than be like that like pose. I just can't. This is great for a podcast. I love doing a lot of physical nonverbal stuff for a podcast, just to really alienate the audience.
And you're gonna keep on doing that.
Yeah.
Hey. Yes.
Oh jeez.
Oh my gosh.
I forget what the question was. Did I answer it?
Yeah.
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 Okay, great.
Yes. No worries. You did. So, So similarly with writing, however, how did that come into play for you?
That's a really great question, Jake. For me, it kind of started as a way into performance. It was like, okay, well, if I don't want to always wait for someone else to give me something I can act, I can write some of my own stuff to act. I started writing some sketch comedy, and I got into a local sketch team in Los Angeles and started performing with them and writing more and more sketches. And then I was acting in a commercial, and the CEO of the company was there on set, and we got to chatting, and he was like, "Hey, I'm looking for some more female writers. Do you write?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I sent him some of my sketch comedy, and they brought me in to write one commercial, and then another commercial, then another commercial. And that's kind of how I got into that. And then wrote some of my own scripts, for a sitcom, like a 22-minute sitcom. And then was able to pass that on to some other people who were looking for more scripted non-commercial stuff. And yeah, it kind of was just like making sure I had good samples of stuff, and then if I didn't have a sample someone was looking for, I would try to write one so that I would have it next time someone asked for it. You always got to have it like right away when someone asks for something, like, "Hey, do you have blank to show me?" Like, they need it right then and there. You can't be like, yeah, and then, I mean, I guess you could a month later be like, "Hey, I did that thing," but then they're not as excited about you anymore. So
Right.
yeah, so it's just kind of built up my my resume that way.
So in terms of the Sunny Side Up show, I know you kind of touch up on it a bit already, but what was like the overall audition process like for that?
It was kind of wild. They looked all over the country, like really reached out a lot of places. I was based in Philly at the time, and it was filming in Philly. So they loved being able to find a local person, because then they didn't have to pay to like relocate me.
Mm.
But I went. I had to do I had to tell a kid's story. I had to then sing a song like the Itsy Bitsy Spider or something, and read a birthday card. Like it was,
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. That was like a
Yes.
main thing from the show, where we would read birthday cards. So I had to read a birthday card that they gave me to read. And the casting director knew me from all of my commercial auditions I had done with her, and she just pulled me aside and was like, "Kelly, you are perfect for this. Everybody is going in there and talking to the camera," because we had to talk to the camera like it was the kid at home. So talking to the camera like the camera is a baby. Don't talk to it like it's a friend, not like it's a little baby. And so she kind of, because she gave me that little insider info right before I went into the room, I was able to knock it out of the park.
There you go.
That's awesome, man. And funny enough, before the Sunny Side Up even started, it was originally, when you said a birthday card, it was what you called the birthday show.
That's right.
Kevin,
Yeah,
with
that's right.
Kevin.
Yes.
That's
And
where
then Sunny
Kevin came
Side
from.
Up.
With Kevin,
Where Kevin
guys,
came from.
I was able to just cast Kevin in a animated series that I'm working on as to play.
Nice.
Wow,
We're still
that's
friends.
awesome.
Oh yeah, I was in
Wow.
Hawaii for a writing job, and I only had like an hour in whichever part of Hawaii he lives in, and we were like, "Can we meet up?" It's just so fun. Like, yeah, we both kind of came of age together, and still a good friend of mine.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Wow, that's amazing.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So during your time at Sunny Side Up, what was it like working with the other co-hosts and the puppeteers on the show?
It was, we kind of rotated. So hosts would work with different puppeteers at different times. So we all got to work with the different puppeteers. I always enjoyed finding ways to incorporate other hosts or more puppeteers if we were creating other puppet characters to pop up for a reason. It was really collaborative. We would share ideas. We would watch each other. We would, if there was a theme that was repeating, because the show would do like, every year we would do like a things that go theme or a like summer theme. Of course, we always had the holidays and things like that. And so we would watch what the others had done previously, and always try. It was also very competitive. We always tried to outdo each other because we all had the same job. And so it was like, I want to be the best at my job. And that was great what you just did. And now I need to do something better than that.
I wish I could do. I should have done that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and then when somebody would write a really fun song, and then and you're like, man, I want to sing that song. Okay, I'm going to sing that song next time because now it belongs to the show. But I always felt like I needed to ask, like, hey, do you mind if I do that activity you did? And then I'm also going to try to make it better. The thing that I was like super proud of that like other people would do, but I definitely know that I was like was my baby, was the drawing with Chica, where it was based on the theme, but like Chica would come up with something for me to draw. And of course, it was all pre-planned, but it would be like a sailboat. And she would be like, now draw a line straight down. And then I would guess wrong. So I'd be like, oh, a line. Is this a pencil? And then I would finish drawing a pencil. And she'd be like, no, it's not a pencil. So I'd have to erase part of it. And then she'd be like, draw a line here. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. And I would keep guessing wrong. And like the fun was me guessing wrong. And then by the end, it was so obvious it was a sailboat. And I'm still guessing wrong, but that was something that like I was like other people would also do. And every time I'd watch, I'd be like, that's right. I came up with that. You're welcome, world.
And and while we're talking about Sunny Side Up show, in the past we interviewed Carly Shiraki
and Kaylin Becker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with them.
Carly and I had some overlap. Caitlin, I helped to train before because I was leaving the show when Caitlin was coming in. And
yeah, she got mentoring.
Just both such great humans.
Oh yes.
Yeah, really.
Absolutely.
At one point, because I was living, again, we were shooting in Philly at the time, and I had a commercial audition I needed to go to, but I had just sold my car because I was like, you know what? I was training for a marathon and I was biking everywhere. So I was like, I don't even want a car. I'm getting rid of my car. And then I got a commercial audition like that I had to drive to that was far away. So Carly borrowed her car. People, hosts looking out for hosts.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious, do you have any like favorite segments you did on the Sunny Side Up show?
Yeah, I mean, I think any of the drawing with Chicas that I did, I always, because when you do something for so long, for me, I got to the point where I was kind of like, I don't know, a little bit bored, and I would challenge myself to do something new, or to do like an accent and play a character as this thing, or to try to write other songs or things that like were outside of my wheelhouse. The first thing I ever directed was a segment for the Sunny Side Up show. Oh my gosh, it was with a band, but I don't remember the name of the band. Oh geez. Oh, this is going to be a boring conversation if I can't remember any details.
Do you remember like what they're like?
Was it like a?
It was a guy that had like big fuzzy gray hair.
Oh
my gosh, Dan Zanes.
Dan Zanes, was it?
Yes.
He's because he's actually a previous guest as well.
Guest of ours.
So it was a music video with Dan Zanes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
So that was super fun. I also, one of my favorite things I did, because it was just like I was like starstruck and like confused, like how is this my life? I got to do a segment with the Wiggles early on, like
yes.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Yes.
We did like huge like welcome the Wiggles live party. And it was in front of this like beautiful painting on the mural painting of like the landscape of the Sunny Side Up farm. And it was just beautiful. And fun trivia fact, Sean, one of the other hosts at the time, and I painted that mural. He's
really?
an incredibly talented painter. He designed it. He like organized it all, and I paint too. And he brought me in to be the other painter on it. But that was super fun because I was just like, the Wiggles, when they were in their absolute prime, were like Elvis. I mean, they were literally the biggest think
But
they
yeah,
were
because they sold
video.
Moonrockets more than the Beatles, you know. So
Yeah.
I
it's kind of
know.
like the children's version of the Beatles,
They
which
were.
doesn't
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah.
Yes, Jake, that's exactly right. Yeah. So it was wild. I think that just because it was fun and it was like super early on too. So it was just like, what is happening? But then as far as like like Sunny set up, then the Chica Show. And you guys are all too old for the Chica Show, but that was absolutely so much fun to do. Like,
Oh yeah.
because it was on a multicam set. Like it felt like we were shooting a sitcom. I mean, essentially we were. It was
Yeah,
just
I
for
can see that.
kids. And then I've been able to like, be on some Nickelodeon sets and stuff since then. And that's the format that I just could eat up and do all day long and die happy.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome. Like, but yeah, Dan's yeah, we actually also previously interviewed with Claudia Zanes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dan and his wife. Yeah,
They're-
because
And his wife.
I grew up listening to his music because his music used to be on Disney for a long
Oh
time.
yeah.
and for Nick
Nick Jr.,
as
yeah.
well.
Nick Jr. Yeah.
And the Wiggles, of course.
That's
I mean,
funny,
they're
yeah.
definitely a huge part of my life as well.
Same-
I've gone to see them live
Same
several
as three
times.
of us. Yeah.
And seeing them live, like they were so good. And I'm just
know.
saying were because I don't know the new generation. I'm not familiar with them, but like
Right.
I mean the OG4,
Yeah.
they were so active. They were all over the place, jumping around. Like, I mean, it was like
I know.
a show.
I know, and I remember when Denisha was
Mhm.
was actually on a Wiggles video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That I thought was kind of cool too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I know Denisha was with Wiggles on the Sunny Side Up doing a frog
Yep.
when walking.
Yeah.
Like Red was still back as a
Yeah.
Wiggle to that
Mhm.
point, which that was very cool.
That was
Yeah.
cool. I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
you guys also had Michelle Obama on, didn't you? On the
We
stand-up
went
show?
to, yes. Oh man, I wish I could have been a part of that. That would have been so freaking cool. Yeah, they went to the White House. They filmed with Michelle Obama at the White
Wow.
House. Not all of us, just
Mhm.
I think I don't even know if a host went. It might have just been Chica.
Hmm.
But because there were like 4 people who played Chica. I don't remember which one got to go, but I'm sure it was like a mega. I mean, again, the constant like little bits of competition that were there. It's like, oh, you're the one that got to go be with Obama or Michelle Obama. Ah, total jealousy. Do you
Yeah.
guys have any segments that come to mind for you?
Oh my gosh.
Lots.
Definitely. One of the things I've obviously remember is the birthday card.
Yes,
segment.
birthday cards, of course.
I always
the-
liked
the
Dress
weather.
Chica. Dress
Yeah,
Chica
Dress
was
Chica.
live.
Oh, yeah,
that's
Dress
right.
Chica,
Chica.
yeah. Whenever we have
Yes.
to do like user generated content, I freaking loved. Like I
Oh,
always
yeah.
read through as many birthday cards as possible because I was like, this kid's gonna have to wait 365 days to get his chance.
I know.
I would fly through those cards sometimes, but I tried to make each one special. So
Uh-huh.
try to like say something specific to be like, oh, John, you're turning 2. That's so happy birthday to you. I love your shirt. Next.
Wow.
Jen, oh, happy birthday. You're 4. Look at you and your mom. Who cares? Next. I mean, I did care very much. I cared very much. It was just like, like,
Oh my
oh,
gosh.
can I squeeze one more in here?
Yeah, and 3 of us are not just big Wiggles fans, but we're also big Barney fans as well. And I know Barney
Oh,
was.
Barney's been on
Yeah,
there a
I
few
was gonna
times,
mention
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring that
Yeah,
up
where-
too.
Segments with Barney, and then I got to go. We did a thing called the mall tour where we went to all these
Yes,
different malls, did
yes.
like live
Yeah.
things
Yeah,
with Barney.
with Carrie Stinson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrie Stinson is again an incredible human being. I was able to be on the Purple
Oh, yeah.
podcast that he does.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
he
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
he like also it's fun after hours getting to like hang with people and be adults together.
Yeah, and
apart
like getting to know them more.
and getting to
yeah.
know them as humans. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And he was
Mhm.
definitely really, really fun. He and Dean, who was the voice of Barney,
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Teen
right.
One, yeah.
was the body of Barney. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
together were like seemed like great friends, and we would go and have martinis and just talk shop and talk life and call like literally anyone who has kids and be like, hey, Barney wants to say hi. And the more cocktails we had, the more that happened.
Yeah.
So Barney's just wishing literally everyone we were calling, like, wish them a happy birthday. I love you.
Wow.
Because he's all about love.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Carrie and Dean, what they've done together, that it's it's Barney,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I take personal offense. There are some people that try to be like, oh, you remember your Barney growing up, man? That was such a freaky creep. Like a couple. I've heard say this.
I know.
And I'm like, how dare you?
Right.
Right.
I know.
How dare you? That is not true. You're just trying to diss on something you loved as a child because now you're embarrassed about it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Celebrate it, man. It was all about love. It was all about puppets at that time when Barney first started. It was
yeah.
Cartoons, but like people freaking loved puppets. They weren't creepy like clowns.
Yeah, and Barney was a
Yeah.
very educational show too. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that and like Sesame Street, and I know some of the Sesame folks have been on there too.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Very, very
That's what we
educational
do.
shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was neat. Getting to work with Sesame puppeteers and
Oh, wow.
their stories and the working with the legends. I mean, getting to visit Sesame Street was incredible because it is.
Oh, nice.
They're legends. And when I walked into the studio to see Sesame Street, it was just like, I couldn't put together a sentence. It was like, you see the spot where Big Bird's nest is and like all the detail that they put into everything. Inside Mr. Hooper's shop, there's like all the props. Everything is lined up on the wall and they all have funny names. And they're usually like about like the prop master's family or like someone from set. It's like, that has like the name on the cereal is their name. It's just everything's so thoughtful. People in children's entertainment definitely take, I mean, I would say people in every aspect of entertainment, but in children's entertainment have a special love for what they do, a passion for sure.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can definitely attest that we've had a ton of the current Sesame puppeteers on our show in the past.
They literally like said like have that same reaction when the first day on the set. They're like, "What's happening? What?
I'm not even supposed to be here."
Yeah. It's crazy.
Definitely.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yes, and one of the appearance Barney was on the Sunny Side, which I actually remember a little bit. It was where you, Chica, make the Barney's purple hummus dip.
Hummus dip,
Hummus dip.
Yeah.
I remember there was a game on
there
was a game on the website too. I remember.
Yeah.
About that too.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember, but I remember when we made it on the show, it was just like bright pink. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Right. And you were like, Barney's purple, we can't make it pink.
No, Barney's purple, we can't make it pink.
Bright pink. It was beet juice and it was just like bright pink. But I'm like, well, I guess I'll acknowledge that it's bright pink because these kids are just learning their colors. If I'm telling them it's purple, they're gonna go thinking this is purple.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So another thing you did with the Sunny Side Up cast is you got to perform in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Which we've talked to a lot of Sesame puppeteers about that. What was your experience like with the Macy's Parade?
It was Sprout's first year in the Macy's Parade. I was there. I feel like on our bus with us was someone like, because they basically like put you in a holding area to keep you warm, and it was like a bus, and it was like someone like Imagine Dragons or someone who like at the time was coming up but not big yet, but it was like like insane big, insanely big. But it was somebody like that. And then to be on the float and you're floating down, and Sprout was a preschool cable network. Like, not everyone knew who we were. It's not like you're seeing Mariah Carey come down the float and like everyone knows who that is, right? Or Sesame Street, everyone knows. So a lot of people did know who we were, and a lot of people didn't. So occasionally people would be like, "Who are you?" They'd like shout at us
That's
as we're
funny.
down the road, and we'd be like, "Hi, read the sign. Read the sign. We're Sprout." But it like when stop me if I'm like repeating things other people have said. But I'm on this float, and you're in front of these buildings, and it's like 10 people deep because it's the whole sidewalk. And then you get to where one of the roads open up, and you're looking perpendicular, you're perpendicular to a road, and all of a sudden, boom, you see hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands and thousands of people backed up. And then all of a sudden that road, you're slowly past it, and boom, you're back to 10 deep, and you can like focus on people. And then the next one, bam, it opens up again, and there's just thousands of people down, and you've got people in the windows that you're waving at. Like, I easily get overwhelmed, and I always fight through it. No one, like, whenever I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm always overwhelmed," people are like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I am high functioning." But I had to, in that moment, like, remind myself to just stop and breathe and like exist, looking out at this moment, and just remember, like, how does this feel? What are the sounds? What is the temperature? What do I see right now? And it's one of the most visceral memories of my whole life, because I took so many times to do that on our trip down to the square to do our song and dance.
Nice. Definitely.
Nice. Oh yeah, and one of the I actually do remember this, like one of the Sprout like specials that you were actually a part of. I think you both might remember. It was actually called Cheer in New Year.
Yes.
It was
During the New
you.
Year.
It was you at the you and me tree, Nina and Star.
Yes. Yes. We went to the treehouse.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful set.
Oh yeah. I completely forgot about that.
It was beautiful. It was a really beautiful set. Yeah. That was the only time I got to go on the Goodnight Show, because we were morning.
Yeah, and the Goodnight Show was night of.
People
Yeah,
associate us with like
April.
wake up time. So if we were there on the Goodnight Show on a regular basis, I'm sure parents would have been like, "Great, now my kid's awake." Singing the birthday song like maniacs and whatever. But
Right.
Yeah, on you and me tree when it's like nighttime or something.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's kind of funny enough because I actually remember the with three of us. I think I feel like you both might remember too the Sprout Scramble Day. So it was a Goodnight Show at first.
Oh
And then the
yeah.
last time,
That's right. I forgot about
yeah.
that.
and then the last one, it was Sunny Side Up Show. Like, wait, are we gonna do it?
I
Are we singing
remember that. That
night
was
song?
That
something.
was
Sunny Side Up
April
Show?
Fool's Day.
Yeah,
Fool's
right.
Day,
I was
April
yeah,
Fool's
it was
Day,
April
yep.
Fool's Day, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember if we performed that, if we taped that live, if we taped that in the morning, or I think we taped that in the morning, but we might have performed that live, streamed that live at night. I don't remember, because our show was live and the Goodnight Show was pre-taped.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Definitely.
In fact,
Yeah.
the little, I just love telling insider stuff. So Nina, always wore the same pajamas. And when I was just starting out, because her show was there before ours, before the Sunny Side Up Show, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to wear the same pajama pants all the time. Every time we film, I have to wear the same thing." And so as they were building our show, they were like, "We really need to play up that this is live, that when people write in, you can read what they're sending in." And me and Kevin were like, "Well, the number one way to do that is to make sure we don't have to wear the same thing all the time. Please let us change our clothes." So we each had like a couple different shirts and a couple different pants. Oh my gosh, I am freaking wearing my jeans from the show right now. They let me keep them when I left.
Really? Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
I am freaking wearing them. I mean, they were very high quality. They spent a lot of money on these jeans. I am freaking wearing them. They're like my backup comfy house jeans. Oh my gosh.
That's wow.
Wow.
Crazy.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Even though, so I know we kind of brought this up earlier, but you also starred and wrote for Sunny Side Up show spinoff, the Chica Show. What was it like getting to work on that?
Yeah, that was super, super surreal. Just being on that set. I mean, the set was, I think, even larger than the Goodnight Show set. Yeah, it was huge. And the people that we brought on, the whole team, I mean, there were 100 people there making that happen on a daily basis. I became really good friends with my makeup person. I had my own dressing room. I mean, all the stuff that just feels when you just get totally taken care of, you feel like a little princess. And it felt like that. Then just creatively, Forrest Harding is one of the most talented people I've ever met. He was Chica for the Chica Show, for all of the Chica Show. His comedic timing, his kindness and generosity as a performer is just off the charts. And that just makes anything satisfying. And then the people who played mom and dad, we all played ukulele. All of us, all four, me, Forrest, and mom and dad, all played ukulele. And so
Wow.
in between sets, we would like go up to our dressing room and just like come up with harmonies, and we called ourselves the ukulayers.
Oh,
You go players.
Oh my gosh.
that's funny.
'Cause
And
laying eggs was the joke. Yeah.
we've had their puppeteers on too, I think. Jennifer Barnhart and John
Yeah,
Kennedy.
Mrs. C. Yeah.
Yes.
Love
Very
Jennifer
talented
They're-
individuals. Love those.
Very talented.
They're
Amazing,
very
too.
wonderful. They're
Yeah,
really
yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
And can sing so
Yeah.
beautifully.
And Mario Lopez too.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he actually came, and we had a big production, or a big promo day together. He came to set. I mean, it was just, he just did VO, but he came to set for a bunch of like promo pics and stuff. And they basically were like, "Hey, Kelly, we're gonna film you showing Mario around the set, around the shop." It's like, okay. And I mean, I grew up watching Saved by the Bell, like incredibly formative years. I mean, I don't think I knew what it was really to have a crush on a boy yet. A little too young for that, but I knew I felt something. I it was like one of my first, like, why do I feel squishy right now? When when as a kid watching Mario Lopez on Saved by the Bell. So he comes to set. I'm like, okay, I'll show him around as they're filming. And we go over to, but there was this place on set that we called like the bunk bed. There was like two chicken nests, one up, one down, on one of the side walls. And I'm showing Mario around, and I was like, and here are our chicken nests. There's the top and the bottom. Would you be a top or a bottom, Mario? Which is a very usually a question that people that's a dirty question to ask.
Right.
And I didn't even, and so Mario and I had this long conversation about being top or bottom, and on camera, I am blushing right now even thinking about it. It was so mortifying. Afterward, like the PR person was like, "So I can't use any of that," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" She told me, I was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys, I just about melted out of total embarrassment." But fortunately, Mario didn't notice. I didn't notice, because we were both in such an innocent mindset. And yeah, but meeting, I mean, he's just, yeah, he was like so beautiful up close, and I'm like, how you're just, yeah, you could just do this and just kind of keep looking at him.
So, do you have any favorite episodes of the Chica Show?
So I've been watching them with my daughter, because
Oh,
now
nice.
guys, it's been
Aw.
wild. It was such a interesting experience to sit her down and to have her watch. So I'm actually watching episodes I had
Some of
never
your
seen
work, yeah.
before, because there's 52
Oh.
episodes. I had never
Mhm.
seen some of these before. we bought both seasons. Yes, I had to buy them. I don't know how I could have gotten them otherwise, but I bought both seasons of the Chica Show. And we've been watching the episodes. I would say there's a Halloween one where we become claymation.
Yeah.
That's rad.
Ooh.
I wrote, I think, a total of 8 of the episodes. And so that's fun to see how those came together. There's one where we're cheerleaders. That's fun.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think I don't know any of them. But as we were leaving the shop, each episode that we filmed, Forrest and I would walk out of the shop and like talk about what we were going to play next time. Those were never scripted. Forrest and I would just always riff. And I was so good at understanding Chica by that point that if Chica would go, I want to be a pirate, I would be like, you want to be a pirate? Arr, matey. And then Chica would be like, arr. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of good ones.
Those were-
Yeah. So aside from Science Option and Chica Show, you also performed Patty on another block, Pierce Gets Sprout, the Sprout Sharing Show. What was that block like?
Oh, that was so much fun to do. Well, they had actually cast someone else as the role of Patty, and I was going to play just the stage mice, which were just these 5 little mice that was a glove hand where each finger was a different mouse. And last minute, this puppeteer was just not able to bring it, and they were panicking because literally it was Friday, filming started Monday, and they were like, Kelly, can you come into the office? And I was like, oh no, am I in trouble? Oh no. They brought me in, and they said, if you were to play Patty, what voice would you do? And I was like, oh no, why are they having a hard time figuring out the voice for Patty? Okay, well, I guess I would be like, oh, like really soft and sweet and fun. And so maybe like that. And they were like, okay, do you think you could do that for a long time? And I was like, yeah, I mean, of course, it's the Sprout. And they were like, okay, great, you're Patty. Show up Monday.
Oh my
Be
gosh.
prepared to be Patty.
Oh.
It's like, all right. Then I got to do Patty for a really long time. Yeah, they were there for years, and it was so much fun. That's where I met Jonathan Judge, the director, Jonathan Judge, who is, guys, he has directed so much stuff from your childhood. You have to
his name kind of rings a bell. Yeah.
Jonathan Judge. And he even, I mean, now he's like directing like everything for Nickelodeon, and he's incredible. He has directed a couple of my sketches that
nice.
I've done. Yeah. But he and I became really good friends, but he directed that. And then Ali Eisner, who puppeteer, did not voice Chica's mom on the Chica Show for season 2. But Ali, they puppeteered Chica's mom. And then Jonathan Judge is incredible. So I met him doing that, and he was just to die for. And Ali directing was to die for. And Forrest got to play some of the characters. And yeah, again, an incredible group of people that we fortunately all had like multiple skills and abilities, which is also so true for, Carly and Caitlin and all these people that like, once they found their core talent, they were able to use us in a lot of different ways. And getting to play Patty on the Sharing Show is a prime example of that.
Absolutely. And I know going back to specials a little bit, I'm not sure if you remember, but you also got to work on Sprout's holiday special, Preschool Musical on a Stick. What was it like working on that? Very interesting concept.
Yes. I just recently found the DVD of that here at my house, but I don't have a DVD player, so I don't know how to play it.
Wow.
That was, it was all about crafting. Sprout was all about having that like crafted do-it-yourself feel.
Oh yeah.
All about like families co-viewing, families watching the show together and playing together and making crafts together. So that was supposed to be an homage to that. And yeah, I mean, just mostly like sing. I just loved whenever they would give me a chance to belt and sing like I'm on Broadway. And that one, that gave us a lot of opportunities to do that and puppeteer. And yeah, it was just silly. It was just silly, goofy fun to be like, you're paying me for this? Okay, thank you.
But yeah, for go back to Sprout sharing show. It's we remember that segment too. It's just
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like because and funny enough, Kevin also did Ricky for that
Yeah,
too.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
that was awesome.
And the stuff between takes was always to die for, and that's part of why we were so fun on. So I would say that's true about any creative show
Yeah.
or creative anything that's done. If you are able to have those creative juices flowing and having a lot of fun in between when the camera is rolling, I mean, obviously not like interrupting flow of production, like
Mhm.
but when it comes to comedy or things that like you're allowed to have that freedom, because obviously if it's a drama, when you show up, like shut up while everything's being done and the cameras roll and you better be able to deliver. But when it's comedy, and especially like what we were doing in that context with just the fun playfulness in between, we would just be goofy and have fun. Like when Allie was directing season 2, we did like bathing suit on top of your clothes day, where all of us while we're filming are wearing our bathing suits on top of our clothes just to be goofy.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That was, I've also never seen, you guys all just sat there and stared at me like, what?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I will say, I miss Sprout. Sprout was
Yeah.
definitely a huge part of my
Yeah,
childhood.
I do too.
Same
I do
here.
too.
Same here, guys.
I do
You
too.
guys are the sweetest.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah, because I remember watching. I think the 3 shows I watched, like actual shows that I watched the most, were probably The Wiggles. Well, actually, 4: The Wiggles, Barney, Sesame Street, and Zaboomafoo. I think those were the ones that I watched.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
Zaboomafoo, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're a
Sprout.
lot
It
of
was
good ones.
it was amazing program for our time, and
Absolutely amazing.
and then whenever the day that that Universal Kids gonna be be like that,
Well,
we're just
at least
Oh.
they kept Carly on for a while, because she did
Oh yeah.
Sprout House,
that.
and then a
That's
couple other
right.
shows on there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, but
Totally.
oh my gosh, and now it's Universal Kids, and I know Sprout will never be forgotten,
Forgotten, yeah.
because especially how
No,
much that
no.
program means so much to us growing up and still do today. So,
Oh,
and
that's
that's where
so
Yes.
rad.
Yeah.
That's so cool to know.
and that's why it's one of the reasons why we've had you on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it was a joy to do, and truly like looking at the camera and talking to it like it is a kid at home and getting to tell
Mhm.
that kid like you are special. What you learn and do and grow every day, how you do that, it matters. And the people around you are special and you are loved. Like to get to say that to a whole generation of people over and over again as my job was incredible. And it's cool to know that stayed with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It absolutely has. Now, moving on from your work with Sprout, you wrote and starred in a short film called Rekindled. For those who don't know what that is, could you kind of describe what the short film's about and what your experience was like with that?
Yeah. I wrote it based on this idea that like what if you got to revisit like the relationship you could never get over, if you got to rekindle with that person only to find out that they're not really what you wanted anyway. And by doing that, so basically this woman buys a deal online to rekindle a past relationship, but when she shows up to the date, he's still 16, the age that they were when they dated. And so then she gets to see him for like the punk little kid that he was, instead of this like dream hunk that she always remembered him as. And she was finally able to move on.
Nice. And I know you also appeared in a number of other TV series. Some include Blackish and Grey's Anatomy, which are also 2 very long-running shows. Can you kind of talk about working on those?
I mean, great. I was watching season 1 of Grey's Anatomy. I was like, it was like, so it was crazy to get to be on it. And it was during COVID, so I'm wearing a mask and was like, it was, we all had to be super socially distanced. It was wild, but just an incredible group of people, really, really kind, really cool. and to get to see the like inside the hospital studio area is like these are the halls. These are the halls that these people have been walking down for 20 years. This is so crazy. Again, it's like when you go to visit anything that you're like, how am I here right now? And then Blackish was one of the most like tightest, most capable sets I've ever been on. Everybody is so, they just have their stuff together. Really, really talented. Yeah. And to like, I got to like chat up the writer who wrote the episode afterward. And yeah, just sometimes it's just like you just connect as people. You're not talking business. That's like never what anyone does when you're on set. You're just talking about your kids and talking about vacations and you know how your yard has too many weeds. You need to get a landscaper, but you don't know how to find them. Like it's people are just talking about like life stuff, and so it's fun to get to do that with people that you're like, oh my gosh, you're someone I've known forever through TV. It's crazy.
Definitely.
Interesting. So more recently, you appeared on the Nickelodeon series Warped.
Are you guys just going through my IMDb? Is that what's happening right now? Calling you out on it.
I don't know. I mean,
Actually,
IMDb,
how I figured
kinda
out
mixed with
what
IMDb.
I was just like channel surfing and I saw Nickelodeon and I was like, oh,
Huh.
I haven't seen any new Nickelodeon shows in a while, so maybe I'll check this out. And I'm like, where do I know
Where do
that
I
lady?
know her?
Oh, that's Kelly from the Sunny Side Up show.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it, honestly.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, that was directed by Jonathan Judge, who directed The Sharing Show.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Full circle.
I know.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So crazy. So awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that set was cool, man, because it took place in a big comic book shop. Really cool show. I don't know if it got renewed. I feel like it might not have, but it was great. And the kids on it were super talented.
Yeah, I think it only lasted a season. Yeah. I don't think it
wasn't on for a long.
Yeah.
It was me. I took it down. They said Kelly was gonna destroy
Yeah, it was probably the pandemic. I mean, that kind of shut a lot of things
Maybe.
down. So
Yeah,
maybe.
during that point, yeah.
I feel like it could have been that.
Could be the case.
But it was a good show. It was a good show.
So with your improv work, you perform weekly at CB. With your own improv comedy team, Ghost. You know, how did that come about?
Oh man, it's honestly one of the like hardest things to get into is UCB here in LA. I've been a mega fan for a long time, ever since I moved to LA in 2014. I've just been seeing shows and taking classes there and doing workshops and stuff. And then in 2018, 2019, auditioned to be the way you like audition is to get into the Herald teams, which is they're like basically they like want to showcase what their school teaches. They form these teams of people that perform the Herald at a really high level. The Herald is an improv format that's been around for a while that the school specializes in. So they put together teams of people that they think are at the top of the game of how to perform a Herald. And then I got in. I was 8 months pregnant with my daughter.
Oh.
I was so pregnant. And I think there was something that kind of gave me that extra little boost of like groundedness and confidence, just being that pregnant. You can't pretend to be anything you're not when you are that pregnant. You're like, this is who I am, take me or leave me. And so I just went out, kind of didn't have a bunch of hangups that people normally have, because I was like, all I want to do is get this baby out of me. So I think I was able to have a really good audition. So yeah, we get to perform. We perform Monday nights at UCB. Have a couple other shows to perform in regularly. There's an incredible new theater improv night out here called The Shared Experience in LA. It's at the Lyric Hyperion Theater. It's called The Shared Experience. It's on Wednesday nights, and it is the best night of improv. I think it's incredible. Herald night at UCB, and then The Shared Experience.
Nice. And speaking of improv, you also work with another actress, Lauren Pritchard, on improv duo Laura Lee. How'd you start that, and what's it like working with Lauren?
Lauren has been in so many things for Disney. And I think
Yes.
people thought when I first moved to LA, and Lauren had been here for a long time, but they were like, you guys both have done kids stuff. You should do improv together. And we were like, okay. Well, we met and immediately bonded, just like both just were like rolling. And both of us talk really fast and improvise really fast. And so we just kind of became this little dynamic duo, and on a whim entered a cage match, which is a common term used when you put two improv teams against each other and let the audience vote to see who they want to move on to come back and perform again next week. And Lauren and I entered that at the iOS Theater in Los Angeles, which is now gone, but it was like huge. And like most of the cast of The Office performed there all the time. And
Oh my
Wow.
gosh! Wow.
yeah, I know.
I
And
love The
so
Office.
Lauren and I
Yes.
entered that and won, and then won again, and then just kept winning for 69 straight weeks until
Oh
we
my
decided to
gosh.
retire because
Wow.
we were like, I'm
What?
tired. Yeah. How cool is that?
How
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I could imagine that point. You're like, how does this keep on going?
How do we keep winning these?
Every
know.
week you'd be like, oh my gosh, okay, I guess we're coming back next week. uh follow me on Instagram at Kelly Vrooms. I've started to post videos of me dramatically acting out real things my 3-year-old says, and I posted the first one a week and a half ago and it went super viral. I would kind of given up on, I was like, I don't know. I when it comes to like kiss in the ring and creating online content that isn't really good but just gets you followers or whatever, I just don't have time and energy to do that. But I was like, you know what, this is fun. I really like want to. My kid is saying some funny things. I think this would be fun for me to do. And I think people really connected to it. And it was a good reminder for me to just like do what brings you joy, focus on what matters to you. And if if it's something other people connect to, then that's awesome.
Definitely.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
at Kelly Vrooms on, I don't know, I think everything.
So, to anyone watching or listening, what would you like to say to those who have kind of supported you throughout your career?
Oh, and there have been some amazing people that have, followed me on Facebook and followed me over to Instagram and all of it. It truly, when I am making anything or doing anything, or even like here as I'm talking to you guys, I'm also thinking about like those people are in my mind as like I'm talking to you. I'm making stuff for you. I am so thankful to get to do what I do and to have people that have worked with me before want to work with me again so much. I mean, pretty much all the work I get is people who've worked with me before, and that it is a family that I feel I'm building in my life, like a chosen family of people, whether I know you or not, like just to know that I'm someone that people connect with and that I get to connect with them through what I make. I could not ask for a better life. I feel incredibly blessed by that.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
And your Instagram, your website, and everything else will be in the description down below, so people can follow you or connect.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. So, to end this off, so the last question that Matt's about to ask is the question that we ask all of our guests at the end of each episode. Go ahead,
Yep.
Matt.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Of course, this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show.
Yep.
When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of? Or in your own words, how would you define the word nostalgia?
Nostalgia for me is a feeling about things that made me feel good before I could identify that this is making me feel good. It's like this, like, I think of like places I felt safe and entertainment that made me laugh or that I just couldn't wait to get back to. It's this like inexplicable like quilt of memories and experiences that whenever I think of them, I feel the warmth of that quilt.
Definitely great words to
Absolutely
end
great
on.
words.
Well, Kelly, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This was a blast.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks guys. Thanks for
Yes.
having me.
Yes,
Yes, of
keep.
course. You know,
But yes,
yeah,
thank you so
yeah,
much
thank you.
Perfect.
Yes,
Thanks
for
guys.
being
Bye.
Thank you.
yes,
being
thank
a
you,
part
and
of our
thank you.
lives. Yeah.
Yes, and for what
Yeah, absolutely enjoy your time with Kelly Vrooman, folks, but it's goodbye from us as well. And as always,
indeed.
what do we say, Jake?
Amazing time. Good women, yes. Keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time from
Nostalgia Live.
amazing episodes coming your way. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show interview. Be sure to follow Jake and the crew on social media and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.